Welcome back, everybody, to our Titan Talk series. I'm here today with Laura Minton. I'm excited to talk to her today. A lot of people recommended that we get her on our show. So I think that this will be really valuable for all of you out there, all of you alumni, and all of you Gadsden City students. Laura, how are you doing?
I'm just fine. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on here, Raven. I'm excited.
Yes, absolutely. So, just so everybody knows, as a reminder, our Titan Talks series is an opportunity for um, alumni, GCHS alumni, to kind of give back to the community um, in the way of wisdom and valuable guidance and advice. And so, we hope that all of these Titan Talks are inspiring to you and make you want to go to our YouTube channel, GCHS Alumni, and then go to our Facebook, GCHS Alumni Association, and check out all of the other stuff that we do. But without further ado, we'll jump right in to this interview. Laura, if you will, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Laura Minton. I graduated from Gadsden City High School in 2016, and then I went to Auburn University. I studied biomedical sciences, and I graduated from there in 2020. And then I started at UAB School of Medicine, and I'm still there now. I'm in my third year, and I'll graduate in 2024.
Yes, awesome. I've been keeping up with you on Facebook and everything. Your family is so proud, and the city is so proud. So you should be proud of yourself.
Thank
Um,
you.
so we're going to start this off with a couple of rapid fire questions, if that's okay with you.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Okay. So favorite class at Gaston City.
My first thought is Mr. Bozeman's class for literature. Yeah.
Okay. Favorite teacher.
I think I might say Miss Garmin and Miss Cornett. I'll give them a tie. I loved choir.
Okay. Favorite lunch.
Lunch. Okay, that's easy. It was the what were they called? The it was like taquitos, sort of, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you
Uh,
said that because we ask everybody this, and it's always like kind of a little battle, but pretty much Crispitos are winning, and I love Crispitos, so I'm glad about that.
yeah,
Um,
definitely those.
yes, favorite place to be on a Friday night.
Oh, I mean, of course, I have to say the football games. That was so fun.
Okay, and favorite Gadsden City moments.
Oh, uh, that is a super hard question. But my best friend in high school was Zoe Glaze, and we would have so much fun just laughing all the time. And so anytime I was with her and laughing was probably one of my favorite moments.
That's so sweet.
Mhm.
um, okay, so if you will, this isn't a rapid fire question. This is a real question. Paint a picture of a typical day for you at Gaston City High.
Okay, cool. So I definitely would say there were different chapters for me and different versions of myself going through high school, which I think is normal as we all figure out more about ourselves and who we are. But I definitely remember starting my day with choir, and I would go with some of my closest best friends, and we would sing every morning, and that was so special. And then I took a lot of EP classes, and I really enjoyed that, and I loved those. And then thinking about going to lunch and just laughing, and I loved our campus. I loved how we could sit outside in the courtyard versus sitting inside in the big lunchroom and all. And then I would go to more classes, and then I ran cross country for part of high school. I cheered for part of high school, so just doing something like that and being around all sorts of different kinds of people with different backgrounds. I just loved. I loved going to a big school and being around a lot of different people. So that was probably my painting a picture of my GCHS days.
You were really busy as you are now
Yeah.
in high school, and so um, how did you manage that?
Yeah, great question. Um, I would say kind of two part. One is, objectively manage it by, making a schedule and making sure that I follow up with all my to-do lists and making sure that I communicate with everybody that I'm supposed to. But I also think that emotionally and mentally, you deal with that by making sure that what you're doing is fulfilling to you, and it's like for a deeper reason. It's not just checking off the boxes of, oh, I have to do this, 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 because then I'll be done with my to-do list. So I think by integrating ways that I really felt like I was making a difference, or that I was impacting people, or that I was making my life better to serve other people, that helped me be busy without being unhappy about it.
Mhm. Okay. And how did Gaston City prepare you for where you are now?
Hmm. It definitely prepared me for where I am now. I think going to a big school um, was just really important for me, because I was able to just meet so many different people. And I know we'll transition into talking about later in my life, but at Auburn, I worked as a resident assistant almost the whole time I was there. And so that
Mhm.
meant that I was, with hundreds of students every day. And I felt like Gadsden City just prepared me for that so much, because I think a big part of me is I really love being open minded, and I love connecting with people no matter who they are. And I just feel like at Gadsden City, meeting so many different people um, really prepared me for that. And then, of course, now in medical school, I mean, you meet all sorts of different people as patients and people
Mhm.
that you work with. And it's just so important to me to like connect with people, like no matter who they are. So, but then, of course, academically, Gadsden City really prepared me as well, with all the AP classes and all the incredible teachers and all.
Yes, okay. Um, there's so much I want to ask you about that for sure.
Yay!
But just trying to stick with our script that we put together as a team.
Let's do it. It's cool.
If you could go back, would you change anything about your experience at Gaston City?
So um, I feel like that's a tough, beautiful, complex question, because in one way, I mean, in one way, I think I wouldn't change anything about my experience. I may go back and tell myself two main things. One of which is that I think at the time, I think when you're in high school, as well as your whole life, sometimes you can feel like things are just so big and so important. And it's like, if I make
Mhm,
one mistake, or if I choose this one thing, my whole life is going to be either ruined or amazing. Like, you just think that, oh, these decisions are so permanent. And I would say, I wish I could tell myself that, like, you really do have a lifetime of times to make decisions, and like, just because you choose one thing doesn't mean that that's the end of your life and that's all you have to do forever. Also, though, I do think there are some things that obviously do change your life, like, where you decide to go afterwards, or what you decide to do and all. But I just think that there's a little more leeway than I felt like there was at the time, for
mhm,
me. And then I think the other thing, I wish I could go back and kind of check on my friends more, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like um, I wish I could go back and just love my friends more at the time. But that might be just specific to my situation. But I feel like I'm proud of myself for how hard I worked in school, and I think that was so important for me. But I also wish that I could have had more time, just, I guess, relaxing with my friends and enjoying where I was at the time without
mhm.
planning ahead so much.
Laura, I don't know if you remember this, but when you were still at Gaston City, you Facebook messaged
Of
me.
course, I remember that. Of course.
Yes,
I
yes,
was like,
and
what do
you
I do with my life?
yeah,
Raven, tell me.
that's
I
exactly what you
remember.
were like for sure. And anyway, I don't want you to feel bad because everybody, like so many people, students feel that way, and their parents as well, because it
Mm-hmm.
is scary. And Gaston City is still new. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
been open since 2006. However, students are still like doing brand new things every single year.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is tough to see at the time that there are many different right ways to do something. But
Right.
I just, when you were saying that, I remembered that message. And um,
Mm-hmm.
I wish that even at the time, like I was probably freaking out about my own life stage, but
Mm-hmm.
I wish that I had the wisdom that I have now to tell you, like
Mm-hmm.
either path you choose
Either
is
way
going to
is
be totally
right.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
because
Yes.
you had some incredible options for sure,
Well,
and
thank
every
you.
single one of them would have worked out.
Well,
Um,
thank you. But I do think you did. I do think you did have the wisdom, though, and you did share that with me. And I remember you making me feel really good about like whatever decision I made was okay. So I
Okay,
appreciate
good.
you and I remember this conversation.
Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad little Raven helped.
Yes, she did.
um, is there someone at Gaston City who had the greatest impact on your life? And this can be multiple
Oh,
people because I know this is hard.
yeah. Okay, well, one person that came to mind was Miss Carol McCord. She was so,
Yes.
so great. And especially, I remember my senior year, I was very involved with SGA, and that was the 10th year of Gadsden City. And so with SGA, we wanted to make so many kind of like almost like a birthday party for the Titans, and it's the senior
Yes.
year, so like everything was so special. And I remember that year we had a bonfire, and what I like it was this huge bonfire at the school. And again, what I loved about it was that like every single person was invited, and every single person could be there, and like there was no money involved, no pressure involved for anybody. It was just like no matter who you were, like come to the bonfire and let's experience and celebrate Gadsden City for making it 10 years. And so she was just so special. And we spent a lot of time together, especially my senior year.
Yes. I love Miss
Mm-hmm.
McCord. Miss
Me
McCord, if
too.
you're out there listening,
Yeah.
you are so precious.
She
So many
is.
people love you. Yes. Um, you kind of already mentioned this when you said that there was something you might change. But
Mm-hmm.
if you could give your senior self one piece of advice, what would you say?
Mm-hmm. I think I would want to encourage her and tell her um, that again, that although I am so proud of how hard she's trying to figure everything out. I mean, this is still advice to me right now. It's like, it's like I'm proud of you for trying as hard as you can, because I do feel like I'm like a 100%. I'm going to try as hard as I can no matter what it is. But I think just the idea that you don't have to have it all figured out, and you're not supposed to have it all figured out, and it's okay to not have it all figured out. I just think I would want to tell her that.
Yes, for sure. The older I get, the more people that I meet, the more that I realize the journey of figuring out something and the journey
Mm-hmm.
of having choices can
Yeah.
be a really good thing. It's overwhelming,
Yes.
but it can be a really good thing and a blessing to have for sure. But I'm still working on that. I have not internalized it.
I agree. That's beautiful.
um, So if someone else, like one of your friends
Hmm.
from high school, were to describe you in 3 words, what do you think they would be?
That's a great question. Um, I think they would say empathetic,
Mhm.
open-minded, and silly.
And how accurate would you say those 3 words are today?
um, I mean, I would hope accurate. I definitely feel like I'm open-minded. I feel like that's just a crucial component of who I am, and empathetic, and then silly, obviously. Just kidding, but I love being silly.
Okay. Um, and how do you think your experiences affirm your adjective choices?
Okay, so okay, I think in my life, almost everything that I have chosen to pour my time into surrounds wanting to meet people where they are and wanting to love them for who they are, no matter who they are, and no matter what they've been through or where they've come from or where they're going. That is just so, so important to me. And I think that is transitioning to where I am now, wanting to be a physician. That is just so important to me, because it's like every single person has a body and has a mind, and like I want to be able to take care of them no matter who they are. And then
Mhm.
I think the silly component comes in, just because like you said, I am really busy, and I just love laughing, because otherwise I think I would be more stressed. But I love the fact that like we're able to laugh and we're able to connect with people, and like laughing with other people is just what makes life worth living, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so now we get to transition into talking about the present and what you're doing now. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, can you tell the audience, please, more about what you do, what a typical day in your life is like, and what made you choose your career.
Very cool. Okay. So, yeah, first I want to say that if anybody has any questions about anything I'm about to say, please reach out to me. I know we're going to post
Mhm.
like ways to reach out to me, but please do.
Yes.
So, right now, I'm in my third year of medical school at UAB School of Medicine. And so, I'll start with the first and second years of medical school. It's a lot of book work. And so, we go through these different kind of chapters. So, like, we had a cardiovascular chapter of school, a pulmonary chapter, a GI, like gastrointestinal chapter. And then you take a lot of exams. You go to the cadaver labs and you're with all the different bodies, and you're figuring out all the anatomy and everything. And it's interesting, but it's a lot of pressure and a lot of time because you just have to learn millions of facts. They say it's like drinking out of a water hose. It's just so fast. But
Hmm.
then I took this really big, my first like board exam back in April. And once I passed that, I've transitioned into the clinical setting, which is so interesting because now I'm seeing actual patients with actual problems and really trying to figure out what's going on with them so that I can make their lives better and help them feel better. And so the way we have chapters of that as well. And so the first chapter that I was assigned to is internal medicine. And so internal medicine is kind of like if someone goes to the ER because they're having a heart attack or because they're having like a COPD exacerbation where they can't breathe or their kidneys are failing or something like that. And so I have 8 weeks of internal medicine. And so one of those weeks, this past week, I was on night float. And so that meant every night at 8 o'clock at night, I would go to the hospital and I would stay up all night. And then if someone was admitted for anything, I was able to go and interview them and figure out everything about them and how they're feeling and, again, their background. And like, it's just constantly trying to find these little details to put together this story. It's like this huge web of all this information. And it's like a detective trying to figure out what's going on. So
Hmm.
I'll do that for 8 weeks. And then I'll take an exam for internal medicine. And then I'll move on to the next chapter, which for me is surgery. And so it's really cool because you get to not only do this broad surgery, but it's like you can specifically work with someone who works with abdominal surgery or breast surgery or whatever. And so it's really fun. So the point of third year is just let's see how many things I can put myself in these experiences and figure out which one I want to do for the rest of my life. And
Hmm.
so if anybody has any questions about any of that, of course, let me know. And yeah.
Well, I do have a question about that. So I have some friends in medical school, and they graduated, and they're starting their residency now. But
Congrats.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember when they were all during their time of trying to figure out which exact type of medicine they were going
Yeah.
to pick, and it seemed to be just such a stressful situation because you have to think about what you're interested in, but also locations you might want to be
Mm-hmm.
and where you see your life, like your
Mm-hmm.
personal life. And so, how did you how are you dealing with that decision?
Don't ask me this, right? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it's so hard because just like you said, it's not just, oh, I'm very interested in, for example, let's just say the brain. I'm so interested in the brain. I want to work with the brain. Well, you can say that, but it's like if you want to do, for example, neurosurgery, the hours and the lifestyle and the time commitment, is so different from, for example, diagnostic radiology, which is something I think I'm interested in. But that lifestyle and that location is just very different. So, yeah, it's extremely difficult. And I think this is where mentors can really help. And that's what I want to be, a mentor to anyone listening to this, but also a mentee to anyone listening to this who can help me. But a lot of it, I think, is just finding people that you trust and people that you look up to and just getting to know them and their experiences. And like you said before, there are multiple right options in a way. I mean, I don't think I can ever know 100%, oh, this will be the best, decision for me in my life. It'll just be a different experience for me in my life. And I think, maybe I'm supposed to go a certain direction and hopefully, it'll just work out the way it's supposed to. But it's definitely difficult to discern at this point what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I didn't mean to add the extra stress, but
No, 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 no. You're not.
you're
You're not.
you're absolutely right that mentorship is super
Yeah.
helpful in this way, and I know that there are definitely listeners out there, for sure, students out there who are listening to this, and please, take us up on this offer. Like, it's always really good to mentor above. So somebody who has finished up where you are, but then also build those connections with people across who are dealing with the same things
Mhm.
that you're doing. And so,
Mhm.
um, if you're a student out there and you're thinking, I might want to go to medical school, Laura Minton is definitely a person to talk to. And so is Grace Sakaya, who we just
Mhm.
interviewed for our last
Yay.
Titan Talk.
Yay.
Um,
Mhm.
so I'm glad that we're Titan Talks are doing something, building some connections
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
Um,
Me too.
can you tell us about a moment that either transformed your thinking or your life trajectory, or just had a major impact on your life?
This was actually extremely recent. This was this past week, but there's obviously multiple moments that have, I guess, affirmed where I am. But we had a patient, and of course, I won't say like any information about who it was or anything, but but she was older and was having some mental deterioration and like dementia type stuff. And
Mhm.
I went to her room, and she just looked at me and said, "My angel, you're here." And I
Oh
had been,
my gosh.
yeah, I had been with her the night before. There was a lot of stuff going on, and like I said, I won't say that many details, but I was with her the night before, and I felt really like connected with her. Um, but there's just a lot going on, and so then I went in the morning to check on her, and just the way she looked at me, and she, in her eyes, I felt so connected, and she was like, "My angel, you're back." She was like, "Thank you for all that you've done." And anyway, I mean, I got chills, and that stuck with me. So I would say that.
I imagine that would stick with a person. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, wow.
Mhm.
Um, that is so affirming because it's like probably the reason that you even got into medicine anyway is to connect with people. And it's not
Yeah.
often that that happens in work where,
Yeah. Yeah.
your North Star is like that visible, but that's
Yeah.
so nice you got to
Oh.
experience that and that she got to experience you for sure.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm. Thank you.
wow. Okay. This is our last present day question before we talk about the future. So, what
Cool.
have you learned about yourself since you left Gaston City High?
That's so good. Okay. I think what I have learned about myself is that at Gadsden City, I think I almost felt like there were two versions of me all the time. There was this version of me that wanted to um, be academically successful and who wanted to um, be this perfect version of myself that I could be. Then there was this other version of me who always wanted to be like an artist and to be a little more, undercover and like to just experience
Ooh, okay.
emotions and that sort of thing. Like I've always felt like I hate, or it is, I don't want to say hate, but it is a pet peeve of mine when people say you're either a science and math person or a literature and art person, because I just feel like I'm just both, and I always felt like I had to
Mhm.
be, like I had to pick one or the other, and I just don't think I do have to pick. I think I can be me, and I think as I get older, I'm just more confident in who I am, being a mixture of the two. Does that make sense, or is that?
That that makes a lot of sense, and it reminds me of something that I definitely want to tell the students who are listening is
Mm-hmm.
that we definitely have noticed that the workforce landscape is changing. I mean, um, you know, former students who are now Gaston City alumni are now like older and becoming managers and having families and stuff like that, and are in a lot of ways dictating what our workforce looks like. And then, especially with the pandemic, there are lots of demands on workers that weren't there before. And a lot of what you'll be asked to do at any job, no matter what field you're in, is to mix those types of skill sets. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you might for sure need to know how to, if you're in STEM, put together a really nice chart, but you're going to be expected to know how to design that chart in a
Yeah,
way that the public can understand and that looks nice. And so
exactly.
I would definitely encourage you during this time to for sure honor every single one of your talent, skill sets, and things
Yeah.
you're interested in, because you're gonna have to do it. And I watch the people around me, my siblings, my husband, my colleagues, mix all of those things at the same time, and it's what makes you successful. And so, I agree, Laura. There is no like set divide between that. In fact, now you would need to know how to do a lot of that. So
Hmm. I
enjoy
agree. And
it.
I'll Exactly, exactly. I'll add one of my greatest mentors is Dr. Kathy Chin, and
Hmm.
she is a diagnostic radiologist here in Birmingham. And she told me, if you want to be a genius, pick one random thing that you love, pick another random thing that you love, and just combine them. And it's like, that's so cool. And like, we can all do that. And we all have things that we love that are random. But I just think you can be an entrepreneur. I mean, that's so cool. You can just combine who you really are and then create something. So I
Yes, for
agree.
sure. Um, okay, so now thinking about your future, where do you see
Hmm.
yourself in 10 years, Laura?
Hmm. Okay, I will also say, I feel like I've been negative about planning for the future, but it's also a beautiful, positive thing. It's so exciting because it is your life and you're getting to experience it. And
Mhm.
so I'll also talk about my husband, Maximilian Garton. He's so amazing and so precious. He's an engineer, and we're best friends. And so I would imagine myself being with him. And then right now, I'm thinking about, I think diagnostic radiology is a really cool option for me because you're looking through images, which is the art component that I love. It's almost like I'm at an art museum, and you're looking through images of people, and then there's the detective aspect of trying to figure out what is going on with them. Why do they have this? Why do they have this in this image, this in this image? Let's put it all together and figure out what's going on. I love the idea of this huge web and trying to discern what's going on. But I also love OBGYN. I love women's health. I
Mhm.
think that there's such a need in the South for healthcare in general, no matter what I choose. I imagine myself being here. Um, but I will also add there's another part of me that imagines me, in so many different other places and doing so many different other things. So to be determined.
Yes, to be determined. One of my one of my best friends is starting her residency in radiology, and she probably gets so annoyed,
Really
but yeah, yeah, in New York, and
cool.
she probably gets so annoyed with me. They probably all do because I know they all do different kinds of medicine, but I still text the group chat and ask them random things about
Yeah.
anything. Like, I'm like, CJ's had back pain for 3 days. What do I do?
Yeah.
And, and they were like, tell him to take Advil. But and then my son hurt his finger in the playing in the toilet. I don't know why he likes the toilet, okay? But
And how he hurt his finger in the toilet, but okay.
yes, I oh my gosh. But I asked them about that too. I'm like, I'm gonna ask my friends because they know and they probably are so annoyed with that. Like that's not one thing
No,
I even do, but
no, they love it. I guarantee you, they love it.
um okay, so our alumni association slogan has
Hmm.
been up to this point from one home to another. And
Hmm.
we hope that that encourages Titans to give back to their community. What does
Hmm.
that look like to you?
Okay, that's beautiful. So I think from one home to another, and then it ricochets back from one home to another, from one home to another. So it's all just so connected, and it
Mhm,
goes back to the mentorship thing that we said too. Of I think even though someone's age or life trajectory in one certain part may be quote ahead or behind someone else, I think there's so many parts of our life that may be, I don't even want to use the word ahead, but they may be ahead in this part but behind in this part. The point
mhm.
is we're all connected and we all can learn from each other, and we all can serve each other, and we all can help each other, and we can all connect with each other. And so I just love from one home to another because it shows how connected we all are and how we can pour into each other to make the community better, no matter where you live or where you are now. We all come from this home of Gadsden City, and we're all connected in that way, and we always will be. So I think that's really exciting.
Yes, absolutely. And then what piece of advice would you give to a soon to be Gaston City graduate?
Mm, beautiful question. I would say um, you don't have to have everything figured out, but the more time that you can spend learning about yourself and truly listening to yourself and what you love and what you think will give your life the purpose that you want it to and what makes you feel fulfilled, I would say follow that.
Yes, absolutely. And then that was our last question, but I want to give you the last word. Is there anything else that you want to add or say before we close?
Well, I would like to thank you all for what all you're doing. I think it's so, so important. And I just will always have a huge part of my heart being with Gadsden City and being with people there because I have been there and I want to go back there in any ways that I can. And so this avenue is such a creative way that anyone, no matter where they are, whether they're there now or they have moved on to somewhere else in their life, this is a really cool way that we can all learn from each other and stay connected. So thank y'all for what you're doing because I know this takes a lot of time and effort to plan things like this. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna give a shout out to my co-founder and partner in crime. I hate that Alethea didn't get to be on the
Yeah,
call
this
today
is so
because
great.
we really have a good laugh and stuff. We're always talking together, and but
uh,
I will make sure that y'all are able to meet and talk one of
cool,
these days
cool,
soon. But she was the one who came up with the Titan Talk idea. She was like, "Why
cool.
we do TED Talks all the time? Why don't we do Titan Talks?" And I was
Titan
like,
Talks.
"What?" So
Yes, I love it.
yes, we're so excited that we get to have this avenue as well. And then just so everybody knows, like there are several different ways that you can get involved. For one, like we already have ideas, you can go to our website, GCHS Alumni Association.org. You can invite people to donate to our Gaston City scholarships. You can fill out the survey on there so that we can build an alumni directory and get that mentorship going. Um, One thing I've started doing is like whenever I get like a Cash App gift from somebody, I don't spend it all. I'll like spend part of it and then I'll save the other part to donate to the
Oh,
scholarship.
that's
So you can
awesome.
do like some easy
That's
things like
awesome.
that. But then also, we are always open to ideas. I mean, we don't know everything, and our intention is to, as this task force, build this up so that the students who are about to graduate can get involved. And one
Mm-hmm.
day, this be a huge alumni association.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever
Mm-hmm.
ideas people have out there for what we can do and things we can do, tell us. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
student, tell our intern, Jaden Walker, what you want to
Mm-hmm.
tell him, and he'll pass it along to us because we're interested in doing all the new things, all the things that would really spark the city's interest.
Mm-hmm.
Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and you can reach out to us on there as well. But everybody, I hope you enjoyed this Titan Talk. I definitely did. Laura,
Me
good luck
too.
to you. If
Thank
you want to get in touch with Laura, we will definitely have her socials and everything
you. Mm-hmm.
in our description. And everybody, enjoy the rest of your weekend. CJ, cut that out because that was everybody's
No,
gonna listen to this.
man, that was
Wait,
cute. Don't do
CJ
it,
might
CJ. Don't do it.
CJ might leave this in as a blooper then, I guess. Wait, I
Please
guess maybe
do.
we should do a blooper reel, but y'all, don't listen to me say have a good weekend because you're gonna be listening to this at different times. So just enjoy it on whatever weekday. Goodbye, people out there.